Yo guys, today we're doing a move called the switch pass. Here it is. That's the move. Here is a slow-mo. All right guys, so to get right into this one, this is basically a wrist pass combined with a handle switch. It's super useful. There's a ton of applications. Anywhere where you do a wrist pass, you can do this instead. I'll talk about that more in a minute, but let's get right into the tutorial. For this one, it starts off with a wrist pass, and it actually has two wrist passes in it. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. If you already know the wrist pass, this is going to be way easier for you, so that'll be in the description. Otherwise, let's get right into it. So what you're going to do is you're going to start this one off hanging on to the bite handle about halfway down the knife. Now, this is going to be lower than it would be for a standard wrist pass, and I'll talk about that more in the tips and tricks. So halfway down is where you're grabbing with your thumb. Your three fingers are along the back of the knife, and I always like to have my index finger kind of resting on the back. So you see my entire hand is almost at a 45-degree angle to the knife, just like so. So just trying to reproduce this position when you start. After you have figured this out, what you're going to do is you're going to use your wrist and flip the safe handle over the back of your hand. And one thing that's very important, of course, is we're grabbing the bite handle. And so the sharp side of the blade is going to be coming at your fingers. So just be very alert when you're learning this trick. So again, grabbing the bite handle halfway up, flipping the safe handle over the back of our hand. You can see here it hits right in between my first and second knuckles, right about there. After we have flipped out the safe handle, what we're going to do is we are going to take our wrist, which used to be straight, and we're going to bend it at about 90 degrees, causing the blade to kind of karate chop towards us, like so. And after you have flipped out the safe handle, you bend your wrist to karate chop the knife towards you. If you do this quick enough, which don't do it yet because the blade is going to fly at your fingers, we have to somehow get the blade out of the way. So what we need to do is dangle the blade out of the way. So as it's coming towards us, what we're going to do is we're actually going to take our index finger and point it straight towards the floor. And you're going to wind up in this kind of position where your whole entire arm is kind of drooping, just like so, and the blade is hanging straight down due to gravity. So if you put this all together, halfway up, safe handle goes over the back of your hand, karate chop towards yourself, and then just about before you're about to get cut, you can point your index finger and your entire hand down towards the floor, and the blade will be out of the way. Once you have kind of mastered this, where we can do this flip and not get cut by having the blade out of the way, we have to redirect the momentum so that way we can come up and open the knife and wind up in the open position for the wrist pass. So over the back of our hand, karate chop and down. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to pinch hard with our bottom three fingers. See my index finger is kind of hanging there. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the back of our hand and we're going to lift it up so our wrist is straight again. So instead of being drooped down, our wrist is straight. And if you do this right, you can see even there, the knife gravity just kind of makes the safe handle want to come down and come under and connect with the other handle. I'm still pinching hard with these three fingers. Boom, the handles connect and I can wind up grabbing the knife just like so. I've completed the wrist pass. So over the back of my hand, karate chop towards myself. Wrist droops, the knife falls, pinch hard with my bottom three fingers, raise the knife up, and I can continue the momentum and wind up here. So once you have mastered the wrist pass, which looks just like that, we're going to go into the part that makes this cool, which is the handle switch. So you've mastered the wrist pass, and now what I'm going to get you to do is do a little bit of an aerial. And this is just for practice to get used to the motion. And so right before you're about to catch the wrist pass, the safe handle is coming here, you're about to catch. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to use our whole arm. We're going to raise it in the air to generate a little bit of momentum, and we're going to release the handles. And the knife is just going to fly and spin. And if you do it right, it should fling around like a helicopter, basically. So I'm just going to do that really quickly. Wrist pass, raising my arm, and you can see the entire knife spins around like a helicopter. And what I want you to do is just practice this over and over again. So wrist pass, throwing the knife, and it should spin and fall down. And just do that till you're comfortable with the throw. One of the things that's going to really help with the throw is, again, grabbing down lower. The lower you grab down, the more of a swing you have and the more kind of easier it's going to be to get a nice fluid spin. If you grab really high up, it's a little bit harder, I find, to get the handles just kind of want to clink together, and you're not going to get as nice as a spin. So that's why you grab lower down. Okay, so once you've mastered the wrist pass, you have mastered the wrist pass into an aerial. We're going to go into the catch for this move. So it's actually really simple. After the wrist pass, when we throw in the air, you're only going to do about a quarter rotation. So you've thrown the bite handle, you're going to take your hand, and you're going to place it under, and you're going to catch the safe handle. See, I throw this handle, I come around, and I'm going to catch the safe handle. So it's hardly even a spin at all. I'm catching the safe handle. And from here, again, the blade, this time it's the dull side, it's going to want to become flying towards my hand, and I can just do another wrist pass where I'm going to point to the ground, point upwards, and come around just like so. So again, mastered the wrist pass, mastered the throw, and we're going to put it all together. So wrist pass, throw, catching the safe handle, we're going into another wrist pass, and open just like so. And that is the switch pass. So let me show you what that looks like. Something like that. All right, so now let's talk really quickly about some tips and tricks. So if you are grabbing lower on the bite handle for that first wrist pass, it's going to give you a little bit more time to lift and throw and catch the other handle. Another thing that's going to give you a lot more time and make this easier is just go super slow. So the tendency is, especially if you've already mastered the wrist pass and you can do it really quickly, is going to be to want to do that, which is going to make it way harder. So if you do a hang down low and do a super slow wrist pass, you're going to have a lot easier time just completing this move. And it's actually going to be quite a bit easier than you would think. Those are really my two tips. Grab low on the bite handle and start slow, and then you can really start to speed up. And it's really cool because as you get better and better, it becomes more and more kind of fluid, and it almost doesn't even become an aerial. You can immediately after you've thrown it, you can already just catch, and you can become really quite smooth, which is really neat. Another quick comment that I want to make is that you can actually do this move with either handle. So we started with the bite handle just because it's a little bit safer when you're learning to start with the bite handle and then catch the aerial on the safe handle. So that way if you catch wrong or whatever, you're not going to cut yourself. But it's just as easy to start with the safe handle and catch with the bite handle. You just have to be kind of extra cautious, extra practice, so that way that second wrist pass, you don't get cut. All right. Lastly, I wanted to give a few examples about how useful this move is. So like I mentioned, anywhere where we do a wrist pass, we can do this instead. One example would be a Zen rollover, which of course ends with a wrist pass. Let's say we want to do a Zen rollover followed by a chaplain. Well, the blade's in the way, so we can't do a chaplain unless we do a switch pass, which would look something like this. And then boom, we can do a chaplain, no problem. Another example would be like a helix. So a standard helix starting with the bite handle, ends off with a wrist pass. So let's do a switch pass at the end instead. Just like so, and let's go into another chaplain or whatever it is that we want to do. So that's it. That's the whole move. I'm sure you can think of many other examples. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys like that one. Peace.